I guess building off of some of the things that on what I think is a pretty similar question, but it's building jobs begins with creating opportunities, and those opportunities are recently far and few in between. So we have to have use our strategic plans, our comprehensive plans, and look to some of the items that numerous residents partook in each of those plans. The park and ride is an opportunity. I can't stop thinking at $4 a gallon gas and how many people commute, there's going to be an increase in people wanting to use mass transportation. There's limited opportunities. You can only throw up so many more shopping malls or petition. There's the bad economy. Car dealerships aren't expanding, so it's making the best of what we got now. But I believe that as I said before, the rail access, that's an opportunity. Not many communities have infrastructure in place, and to look at our vacant properties and create jobs from within, in terms of what was said before. Some of our area businesses look towards them. What types of expansion can they do to improve? And that's just what the village has a track record of doing, partnering with Fox River Foods. We have to improve, we need to create entertainment. That would, so many times now, you travel to various other places to partake in those things. We need it here.
Thank you. Stan?
We have a wonderful opportunity with some of the great companies that are in our area. Caterpillar, for example, could be a greater calling card for us, perhaps. We might want to work with some of the businesses in our top 10 sectors and identify what do you purchase, what products or services do you need routinely that you wish you could get locally. And maybe it's a welding service, or maybe, who knows what it is. That's why you talk with them. But if they can identify some things that are a little bit of a headache for them, that's an opportunity for us. We can go to other companies and say, we might have a built-in market for you here. I thought I had a list of our top 10 employers in my folder. The good news is that we have some really good names in that top 10 list. The bad news is it hasn't changed too much over 10 years. But nonetheless, it's a resource that we could use. And I think that's one quick answer to improving the local economy. We really need to take a look at some of our ordinances. I think that some of the requirements that we've begun to place on new property development may be discouraging conversations with developers, and it may be frustrating people who would otherwise like to do something in our community. And we may want to take a look at some of the requirements for development. Let's say that our vision might be that we want a small strip mall along, say, Route 30, where there'd be a dry cleaner or a convenience store, sandwich shop. But to make that happen, there has to be a road improvement on Route 30 that's really expensive. A dry cleaner is probably not going to be able to suffer that kind of expense. And neither would the developer of a little strip mall, but maybe we can find ways to help them. In a good economy, maybe they would have, but now I think we have to do more.
Thank you. Matt Crowley?
On the subject of jobs, I would again mention the Montgomery Economic Development Corporation to reel in fill our industrial and manufacturing spaces. I'd also like to see us use the revolving loan fund that was established years ago from, I believe, a state grant that is strictly for businesses in our area to expand. Most recently, I believe, Fox River Foods expansion was part of that. I would like to comment that it's no surprise to anybody that Montgomery is uniquely situated in between the river and 3 state highways and is extremely long, not so much north to south. And that does pose some restrictions on development, especially along the Route 30 corridor. It's my understanding that it's a limited access road, so that's the reason why there isn't much commercial development along Route 30. So, I'd like to see what we can do in that area with, working with IDOT and our state officials. And also the park and ride. When we did the park and ride study, I was on the plan commission at that time, and I did participate in the interviews and the visual preference surveys that we did. And one of the consultants that we had stated that bringing a park and ride to your facility is not really an economic engine. It's not going to create a lot of revenue for the town. But what it does do, and what it would do for the village of Montgomery, is bring Chicago jobs to residents here. There's a neighbor on my street that drives every morning to Chicago, and if he could hop on the train every day, some of our residents would be able to take advantage of that opportunity.
Thank you. Jean Felton.
In terms of fixing the economy or stimulating it, I mean, I guess in all reality, our options are really very limited. I think the key to the whole thing is going to be getting jobs, getting people back to work and getting new jobs. And whether that's something that we as a village can directly impact is probably still something to be determined. But I think it is important to work with some of the developers, to work with our MEDC, to try to get some of our vacant industrial buildings filled so that those can generate some additional jobs for us. Because the whole thing is going to be a trickle down. If people are working, then they're going to spend. And once they start spending, then the sales tax revenue will go up. And as people start spending, the businesses are going to want to expand. I know that's been an issue right now. We can sit here and say we want to add new businesses, or we want to bring in new restaurants, or we want to bring in new stores. I know I personally have 2 or 3 business or restaurant type businesses that I email on a regular basis because I'd love to have them in Montgomery, and they all keep saying we're not expanding. So, I mean, it would be nice to sit here and say we have the answer to fix this, but unfortunately there's so many intertwined components to it that we can only do what we can do to be a solution to that problem.
Thank you. Martin Flowers.
You know, they were discussing a train station, I think, for the village of Montgomery, an actual physical train station. That would be before issue. So Oswego has a parking ride. Now they've got on there, Brian Leclerc is out trying to get the train station to Oswego. Okay. Well, I think we need to move the ball forward here. We need to create jobs. Okay? How do we do that? We have got some of the most skilled tradesmen that are currently on a program. We've got the best skilled people. We're not addressing our assets and resources. We already have moved forward on creating infrastructure improvements. Orchard Road and Route 30 are 2 prime examples. Now, I challenge, why can't we make that Route 30 corridor a success? You look across the street at Oswego, they're making it happen. Why can't Montgomery make it happen as well? I say we talk to State Senator Lindholm, we talk to Tom Cross, and we talk to State Representative John Hovian. I know they will be committed to helping the village of Montgomery.
Thank you. Josh Salisbury.
Okay, and again, there are no easy answers to this question. The village needs to do what it can to look at the ordinances, to get businesses to stay here and bring new ones in. Now, one of the biggest things that I've seen over the years I've grown up here, and since I started running the election here, we have a very nice piece of property at the end of South River Street, the old Western Electric property. Can you imagine the amount of things the village could do with that property, be it a train station, or be it an amphitheater for entertainment, restaurant, any type of property? That property has been cleaned up and it's sitting there vacant for a lot of years. So if we could do something with that piece of property, that would create jobs, create revenue, and boost our sales taxes.